sensitive, an animal communicator, and a Reiki master practitioner here at animallovelanguages.com. And we are talking about EFT tapping, or emotional freedom technique for pets. Now, in the first video in this series on EFT tapping for pets, we talked about the history of EFT, why wild animals typically don't need EFT, and why captive or companion or working or commercial animals often do need EFT. So if you missed that video, you will definitely want to go back and watch it now. In the second video in the series, we are going to walk through why is EFT so effective for this latter group of animals who can be prone to getting stuck in trauma or negative memories. Now, first, you need to know that EFT, or emotional freedom technique, is often touted as a miracle cure. And sometimes you do see that instant result. Sometimes it really does seem like a miracle because of how fast it can work. But sometimes you will also see results more gradually. And it's important to recognize that how well it works and how fast it works really depends on that unique animal and their specific individual situation. That can include the depth of the trauma, the type of the trauma, the state of that animal's health, nutrition, their age, their gender, their prior life quality, and so many other factors. So this is not necessarily a one pet fits all formula that I'm giving you, where it's a one and done type of outcome. Isn't that right, my love? Oh, got a sleepy birdie here. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's also safer for your pet to experience more of a gradual shift away from their trauma, especially if they've really gotten fixed or locked into that kind of self-identity. It's actually safer, healthier, and a lot gentler for an animal to experience a more gradual shift away from the trauma mindset and the heart set and the kinetic or the physical set, and towards more of a positive, relaxed, present moment state once again. So don't worry if your pet takes some time to show the full benefit of EFT tapping in their life. Trust that this emotional freedom and release approach is working at the perfect speed for what is truly best for your pet in their specific situation right now. Now let's talk a bit about the actual emotional freedom technique formula, if you will. Remember, I said it is one part mental, one part emotional, and one part physical or kinetic. The emotional part comes first. Now here, what we want to do is identify one or more strong emotions that are causing your pet some trouble in their daily life. And just because it is such a common issue that comes up all the time in my work as an animal communicator and energy healer, let's tackle the topic of separation anxiety. Let's use that for our example. Let's say you have a pet who is experiencing a strong level of anxiety, of separation anxiety. So here, the anxiety is the strong emotion. That's the first part. Identify the major emotion. I'm not saying it's the only emotion present. Typically, anxiety is going to come along with fear and worry and maybe anger or grief, sadness, but here we're at least looking for the primary emotion. Now, the second part is the mental part. And here our clue comes in the word separation. Animals think in pictures paired with emotions rather than in mental thought words. So actually the words that we're using here are for your benefit, for my benefit, they're not for the animal's benefit. And separation anxiety is anxiety that gets triggered when your pet perceives something specific is about to happen, and it's something they felt trauma around in the past. The specific thing they're perceiving that's about to happen, the thing that they dread or they fear or that makes them anxious, is that you're about to leave them alone. whether that means they're alone in the house, at the vet, at the daycare, boarding, or somewhere else. You and your animal are about to be physically separated in a state where your animal cannot see you, they can't find you. So this is the mental picture that is paired with that extreme anxiety, the fear, the panic, the distress that your animal, that your pet is feeling. The mental picture may be of a specific time that's caused trauma. It may be of every single time they've ever been abandoned, relinquished to rescue, even taken in the car and dumped somewhere, and their human never returns to them. So that's the separation, that's the mental picture. So we're pairing this mental and this emotional state together. And so that's the first two parts of the EFT formula. Now, with EFT tapping, remember, we've got the words are for our benefit. So we can tune in, we can use our empathy, and we can tune in with that pet, and we can start to help them heal. EFT tapping, we're working with a basic outline, a set phrase that begins with the words even though. So that's where we start, is with the words even though. And then we fill in whatever it is, even though it's this problem, this mental picture, and this emotion paired with it. And then the phrase ends with the words, I still completely love myself exactly the way that I am, or I love and accept myself exactly the way that I am, or I accept myself feeling this feeling exactly the way that I am, or some variation on that theme. You get the point. So in this particular example, we're talking about helping a pet with separation anxiety to release that anxiety and reset their survival, their fight or flight survival system, and be able to live in the present moment with peace and ease. We've identified the emotion anxiety and the types of memories most likely to be triggering that anxiety. Now, if you are working with your own animal, you may have enough information about what happened to them before they came to you to create an effective statement on your own. If you're working with a pet client, like I often do, you will want to involve that animal's person or their carers or guardians or the intake personnel at the rescue shelter or the zoo or wherever that animal lives. And you'll probably need their help to craft an effective EFT tapping statement that accurately reflects what that animal most needs help with in this moment in time. So returning to our example pet who is suffering from separation anxiety, we will use this information to create a phrase to use with the pet during their EFT tapping session. And an example I have used with my pet clients is, even though I am experiencing strong anxiety because I am afraid my human is going to leave me and never come back. So that is one way to encapsulate the mental picture or pictures and the emotion or emotions that that pet is likely feeling. And there's other ways that we can muscle test. We can do some other things to make sure that we're using the most effective problem statement or even though statement that is going to be the most beneficial for this pet at this moment in time. So this is the first part of the EFT tapping sentence. Even though I am experiencing strong anxiety because I am afraid my human is going to leave me and never come back. Then we complete that statement, which is the ultimate outcome we're going for, the resolution that we're aiming for, our goal, our intention, if you will. I'm really big on intentions, especially with deep work like this. The second part of that sentence is, I still deeply and completely love and accept myself exactly the way that I am, or some variation on that statement that feels appropriate to the problem that we're working with. So here in this particular example with a pet who has separation anxiety, the statement we're working with is, even though I am experiencing strong anxiety because I am afraid my human is going to leave me and never come back, I still deeply and completely love and accept myself exactly the way that I am. And remember, when you are saying this statement, I talked about empathy a few moments ago. When you're saying this statement, and it's on your pet's behalf. You're basically stepping into your animal's world, and essentially you are them for the purposes of the EFT tapping treatment. You're using empathy to tune in, to imagine as if, and offer the healing power of EFT tapping on your pet's behalf or on an animal's behalf to help them shake it off, to help them let go, to help them step back into the present moment in their own life and heal. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, when do we get to the kinetic part or the physical or the movement part, the shaking it off part, the third part of the formula? When does that happen? Now, that happens during your repetition of this statement. We're going to do that 3 times. And you pair the repetition 3 times with tapping, physically tapping, using your fingers on specific points on the animal or on a proxy. And I'll explain more about proxy options here in a moment. But the physical kinetic tapping is the equivalent to that wild dove we talked about earlier in the first video, getting up and shaking herself off after she escapes the hawk. This kinetic experience is like a tap, 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 kind of like a reminder, tap, 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 right, Pearl? On the body's system's fight or flight survival response, reminding it to hit the reset button and let all that stuff go. So be sure to stay tuned for the next video in this series when I introduce you to the major energy meridians on your own body and how to work with them on your pet's body as well. If you have more questions or you would like to experience the power of EFT tapping right now, you have a pet need and you would like me to work with them and work with you to really code this into their body and help them heal and let go, you can visit me at animallovelanguages.com. For now, be sure to like, subscribe so you don't miss the next video in this series and other videos that I do. I really appreciate your support and look forward to reconnecting with you for the next video. Okay, bye for now.